Hey folks, it's Dustin with PosiRank.com. Welcome back for this video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to correctly configure the Google XML Sitemaps plugin. Now this is a different XML sitemap tool than the one that's included in Yoast SEO, so make sure that that one's deactivated. You don't want two plugins creating XML sitemaps at the same time, or you're going to run into some problems there. So make sure you do that. First things first though, let's install the plugin. Okay, we'll go to plugins, click add new, and we're going to search Google XML Sitemaps. You can see I've already searched it because it's installed on this site already. Important point here, make sure that you search for the plural version, Google XML Sitemaps with the S on the end, because that is different than the plugin you'll find without including the S. Okay, and this is the one we like right here, Google XML Sitemaps by Arnie Brackel. We'll click install. WordPress will do its magic, install it for us, and we're good to go. From here, you'll go to settings, then down to XML sitemap. Now, while this is loading, let me just tell you that we like this plugin much better than the one included in Yoast because it allows us control over the frequencies of how our pages are being spidered, okay, or how we're asking Google to spider those pages, rather. And we've done a lot of testing. We figured out how to best configure this thing, and for sure, this is the best XML sitemap plugin to use with WordPress. Okay, now quick note that we're on this page here, XML sitemap generator for WordPress. This is the main page. Because I've installed the plugin already, we're not seeing the welcome message that goes right here. Okay, and in that message it says click here, and it's a link just like this, any of these links here, that says click here to build your sitemap. That's going to be the button we want to press after we've correctly configured this thing. Okay, and sometimes when you click that and it builds your sitemap, sometimes you get errors, and typically those errors occur when you don't have the right permissions set up on the folder where the sitemap's being created. Basically, that folder needs to be writable, whatnot. Now, don't let that scare you, okay? Even if you don't know what that means, read the help message here because this plugin is very good at letting you know what you need to do exactly in order for the plugin to work correctly. Okay, so if you get an error message, it happens a lot, don't worry about it, just follow the instructions and you'll be okay. Alright, so let's get on to configuring this thing correctly, shall we? Alright, so we'll scroll down here and we'll look, we've got these basic options. Now, by default, most of these are set up correctly. The one that I would suggest changing is this one right here. By default, this is checked. Try to automatically compress the sitemap if the requesting client supports it. Now, it's not terrible if that is activated, it's just more ideal to not have it activated because when we create our sitemap, it'll show all of the pages that we want Google to spider and their frequencies all on the first page of the sitemap. If this is checked, it's going to create multiple pages of the sitemap and just create basically more work for the spiders to crawl through the links and find the pages that you want them to see. So leave that one unchecked. Otherwise, the default settings here are okay. What we're most concerned with, though, is down here below. We're concerned with these frequencies and priorities. This is why we like this plugin, okay? Because this allows us to tell Google, hey, these are our most important pages, and you should come back and spider these things on frequent occasion, right? So the home page, you can see we've got it set up as daily and others as monthly. We're telling Google that we want those spiders to come back daily for the home page, monthly for the posts, static pages, so on and so forth. And that's actually been really beneficial. Now the issue here is most people set this thing up incorrectly, right? They overestimate how often Google should be coming back to their site to crawl their pages, especially when you get down to this priority section right here. The higher the number, the bigger the priority, And a lot of people just go through and put this on the highest priority possible to get the Google spiders to come back as often as possible. And from our testing, we found that that's actually not what you want to do. That's going to have the inverse effect. Okay, so if you set this up and you overestimate, tell Google to come back all the time, what we found was that Google actually comes back less and less because they it's almost like they don't believe you, right? They just come back less, spider your pages less, and you have the inverse effect of what we're trying to do here. So what you need to do is be more conservative, and I'll explain these settings here in just a second. Okay. First things first, though, let's go to Sitemap Content. Right. This is going to tell the sitemap builder exactly which pages to include and which to not include. Okay, for sure you want to include the home page, make sure that's checked, include posts, include static pages. You want to include your categories because that's going to help boost our spidering even if our category pages are not indexed. And then we'll leave the rest unchecked. Okay, and then you can skip the custom taxonomies, custom post types, and further options include the last modification time. I typically leave that checked, and they even say this is highly recommended. Okay. So the top four you want checked, and then the bottom further options checked. Scrolling down, we get to change frequencies. All right, it's important that these are set up correctly. Just like I said earlier, if you overestimate, Google's not going to come back that often, and you're going to have problems. This is the best way from our testing to set these things up. So the home page we put to daily, posts monthly, static pages monthly. By default, all these are going to be different. Okay, they're not going to look like this out of the box. They're only like this because I have it set up already. So you're going to have to actually click the box here, select monthly, and go on down the line here. So monthly for posts, static pages, categories, the current archive of this month, yearly for older archives, monthly for tag pages, monthly for author pages. Okay, that's the correct configuration for the change frequencies. We scroll down and go to priorities. This is a big one too. Okay, so take note of this. Make sure that you set this up just as I have it displayed here. Okay, if you don't, if you overestimate, you know what happens. So the home page is obviously pretty important. We'll go to 0.9 on that. You don't need to go to 1.0, just go to 0.9. And this, quick sidebar here, this applies to sites where you're updating your pages, once or twice a month. This does not apply to the authority type pages that update their options all the time. If you're an authority page and you're updating, once, twice a day, you might want to change the post to weekly rather than monthly. Okay, so just a quick note for those types of sites. Most sites aren't true authorities that are updated multiple times a day, so that's why we're going to set this up just like this. Okay, so let's go back down, go to posts. We like a 0.4 on the posts, and minimum post priority, even if auto calculation is enabled, we leave this from 0.2 to 0.4. I leave it on 0.2 for this site. Static pages 0.3, categories 0.4, archives 0.4, tag pages 0.3, and author pages 0.4. So again, this is not how it's going to be set up by default. You're going to have to literally click this drop down, select the correct priority, and then once you're done with that, click update options. Okay, so you can see at the top says configuration updated, pages saved. And then from here, now that we've got this thing correctly configured, you're going to click that link that I was telling you about that says click here to build the sitemap. Now because I've already done that, this is what it looks like when you've done that. Okay, they built the sitemap. The URL to your sitemap is shown right here, and you can literally open that in a new tab, take a look at it. Okay, and this is the sitemap for this site. Now you'll notice I've got these links here. Your sitemap's most likely not going to look like this. You're going to have links to every page that you have included in the sitemap builder. Okay, now my links look a little bit different. If I click on these links, you'll see the actual URLs to my website. which is what you'll see on this page here. The reason mine is like this is because I had that automatically compress my sitemap option configured when I built the sitemap. Okay, now this, like I said, isn't a terrible thing, but it does create a little bit more work for those spiders. We don't want that, so we're going to make sure that the spiders see every single page that we want them to see on the very first page of the sitemap. Now, important point here. If you take a look here, you'll see all the different pages I have included. I've got several pages that I don't want in the sitemap. So for example, the privacy policy page. That doesn't need to be in the sitemap, especially when it's not a very unique page. It's a page that I have no indexed already. There's really no reason to include the pages that you have no indexed in your sitemap. So let me show you how to remove those from the sitemap. It's actually pretty easy, but it might be a little bit confusing at first. Let's go back to our sitemap generator page. And we want to scroll down until we see the excluded items section here. Okay. This part right here where it says exclude posts, we need to include what's called a list of IDs. Now every post, every page that you create in WordPress has an automatically included ID when you publish it. Okay, WordPress just assigns an ID number. Let me show you how to find that ID number so we can put those in the exclude posts section and wrap this thing up. So because this site was built mainly on the pages, static pages function, I'm going to go to pages, but you may be using posts. Okay, so if all your content is published in posts, you're going to want to go to your post section, go to all posts. The way we find the ID is the same whether it's pages or posts. Okay, so now we're looking at my pages here, and when I hover over, these are a list of all the pages that I've got published. When I hover over the edit link, take a look in the lower left hand corner. Okay, you'll see my URL, WordPress admin, post, question mark, post equals 160. Right where it says post equals 160, that is the ID for this page. It's gonna, like I said, this is a page, but it's the same for posts. It even says post in there when you're looking at the pages. So that is a very quick and easy way to find the page ID or post ID. So let me go down to my privacy policy here, hover over the edit link, and you'll see it says post equals 48. So I'm going to take that ID, 48, go back to my sitemap generator page, and type in 48. Okay, so I'm not going to include any other pages here. If I were to include other pages, I put a comma and then the other post ID like that. But for right now, I'm just going to do that. Scroll down to the bottom and click Update Options. Okay, so now if we go back to our sitemap.xml URL and take a look at our sitemap, I'm going to click this page here because this is where the privacy policy was. And you'll see privacy policy is no longer in the list of pages because I entered the post ID into the exclude page function. So that's how that works. Okay, so now you know how to correctly configure the XML sitemap generator or Google XML Sitemaps plugin. You know how to build it, you know how to exclude pages, and that's pretty much everything you need to do with this plugin. Once it's done, Google's going to spider your site deeper, more often, and you're going to get better indexing results because, okay, that's it for this one. I'll see you on the next one.